forever the image of comic book shenanigans that many of us have associated with drag racing. I'm Jim Lampley. I've learned here at the Winternationals Drag Racing Championships that drag racing in the 80s is a very highly organized, very sophisticated, and indeed a very expensive sport. Here to watch it with me, our automotive racing expert Sam Posey himself, a lover of fast times and expensive toys, and a bit of a drag racing freak. Sam, what is it you like about drag racing?
Well, Jim, I think it's that none of the other forms of automobile racing that I've been involved with offer such sharp contrasts or seeming contradictions as this one. For example, it's thought to be a man's game, and yet it is an 110-pound woman that is the current champion of the fastest class of all. It's thought to be a sport of blinding speed, and yet, to the drivers at least, those 250-mile-an-hour runs unfold almost as if in slow motion. And it's thought to be a sport for people that love cars, yet they push them so hard that it really becomes a form of mechanical torture.
And this year the torture is spread over 2 weekends as racing barely got underway a week ago before being rained out. Before that happened, Gary Beck in the glamorous top fuel category covered the quarter-mile track in 5.52 seconds, a time which will become a new National Hot Rod Association record if he can back it up today with a time within 1%, 5.57 or less. His semifinal opponent, Shirley Muldowney, the biggest name in the sport, who unlike most of the racers, doesn't do any work on her own car.
I don't need anything more to think about when I go to the starting line. I should think about reaction time and doing everything right and not making a mistake. Hopefully, Gary won't have too much to think about. That's the advantage of being a woman.
There is a look at Gary Beck of El Toro, California, who will be in the blue car racing against the distinctive paint car of Shirley Muldowney from Mount Clemens, Michigan. It costs something well over $250,000 a year to keep one of these top fuel cars in competition for a year, and these are probably the 2 most financially well-backed racers in the class.
And each run, Jim, costs a lot of money. $900 for the fuel alone. The tires are only good for about 6 runs, and each time they run them, you expect to burn at least 2 or 3 pistons in the engine.
The Christmas tree, as they call it. You'll see one flash of yellow light toward the bottom, then the green, which means go. And they're off. Shirley Muldowney with the early edge, and she is going to win the race easily. So Muldowney eliminates Gary Beck from the competition, and there'll be no NHRA record for Beck.
Well, let's have another look at the start. Muldowney had been having trouble making her starts, Jim, during the week, but she made a clutch adjustment just before this run, and as you can see, just a few yards off, she's gained a full car length over Gary Beck.
The other semifinal matchup in the top fuel class produces Jody Smart of San Antonio, Texas, against Jerry Ruth of Seattle, Washington, who won this championship 6 years ago. Ruth will be on the near side of your screen, Smart on the far side. Jody Smart estimates, incidentally, that his car produces about 500 horsepower less at its peak than the other cars in the class, and he believes that he gets a more consistent performance out of the engine that way. Instantaneous reaction to the green light, one of the real keys to success in this sport. And as they take off, it appears that Smart left him a little bit at the line, and even though fishtailing just a little bit, Jody Smart was able to win.
Let's have another look at that run in some detail, Jim. The lights in the upper right of the screen there are the staging lights, and they trigger the lights here on the Christmas tree. Now watch the third light up from the bottom, a yellow light. When it comes on, there'll be just 0.3 of a second before the green light, which starts the race, comes on. Both men make perfect starts. They're dead even after a few yards. But the first major development occurs here when Smart's tires begin to smoke. That's excessive wheel spin. So he shifts gears, and in slow motion, we see him fighting for control. Both cars are doing over 150 miles an hour here. Next, as Smart regains control, Ruth's engine begins to fail. Notice that his rear tires have stopped spinning. That line is the first part of the timing trap, which will measure the car's top speed. Smart has caught Ruth and is traveling much faster at this stage. There's the finish line, where the elapsed time is measured and the race won and lost. Smart wins this one. The last line is the far end of the speed trap. Ruth is slowing and trying to save what's left of his engine, and he is measured at 16 miles an hour less than Jody Smart.